meeting. It's not a
So it's
permission
not.
issue. All right. Thank you everyone for your patience. We had a technical issue there and we are ready to go. So I will call to order the February 17th, 2026 meeting of the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. I will note that we have a quorum. We have myself and Vice Chairman Payne in person and Commissioner Mark Jones on virtually. Next item, disposition of minutes from the February 3rd, 2026 meeting.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, we've received a copy of the minutes from the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission meeting of February 3rd, 2027. Those have been reviewed. I move acceptance of the minutes as provided.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, prosecutor's recommendations.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we've received a report from the prosecutor's office, a HAB report on fines collected. This last period, 40 were made for a total of $28,500. 2 of them are noteworthy. The first comes from Indianapolis, the Zone Bar and Grill, where there was a shooting in the parking lot. Officers investigated and looked at the history. They found out the business records show a fail to disclosure ownership information. Violations were written for public nuisance, falsification, and after-hours alcohol sales. The parties have agreed to a $2,000 penalty and a 3-day weekend suspension of the permit. The second comes from Russiaville, Howard County, Root Partnership, and one that we've heard recently over and over again, that is the selling of hemp tobacco. As the officers conducted an investigation, found 450 smokable hemp products there. Violation was written for nuisance of tobacco. Parties have agreed to a $1,000 civil penalty and 7-day suspension of the tobacco certificate. I move acceptance of the prosecutor's recommendation.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Consideration of applications. There are 674 renewal applications.
I just had one question. I thought maybe one of those renewal applications was being removed.
It's
Is
a
that-
transfer application.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
I would move then to approve and incorporate by reference this list of 674 permits for renewal. Those have been recommended by local boards and reviewed by staff with the authority of the commission. I hereby move for approval of the same pending any escrow hearings. Further move for the inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of today's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Now on the next one, the new transfer applications, permit RR 4940377. This was approved for transfer at the Marion County Local Board. Following that approval, but before today's date, we received notice from someone stating that they hold the lease for the premises and they are not familiar with the permit applicant, and the permit applicant does not hold a lease for the location. So it's been requested that we remand this back to local board for further investigation relating to the lease and qualifications to hold the permit. So I would move that we remove RR 4940377 and remand to local board.
Second.
I'll either second or consent, whichever you need.
Since we're remanding, let's do a vote.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. So that takes us to 73 new and transfer applications.
And Madam Chair, I move to approve and incorporate by reference this list of 73 applications for a new permit or application for changes in location, ownership, or both for existing permits. Those have been recommended by local boards and reviewed by at least 2 commissioners. I hereby move for approval of the same pending final floor plan approval by the Indiana State Excise Police and escrow if necessary. Further move for inclusion of this list also as part of the minutes of today's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next, 43 catering applications.
And I move to approve and incorporate by reference this list of 43 catering applications. Further move for inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of today's meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 2 direct wine shipper applications.
I move to approve and incorporate by reference this list of 2 direct wine shipper applications. Further move for inclusion of this list as part of today's minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Waivers of fees for letters of extension.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we received notification of application for waiver of fees for letters of extension. I move acceptance of those.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Items for discussion. The first one is RR 02411719 Peanuts LLC. This matter comes on for both an extension request continued from the 2-3 meeting and a renewal application with the local board voting 3-0 to deny with remonstrators present. The local board reviewed violations from the past year that included public nuisance, relating to fights and police activity, police runs. Multiple members of the Fort Wayne Police Department were present at the hearing and remonstrated. They indicated that it seemed like they were becoming the default security because the permittee was not properly managing. They were pulling officers from other areas for this location and it was straining resources. They did confirm that there were other alcohol establishments in the area and that there were no calls for service so far in 2026. But indicated that everything is usually calmer in the winter than it is in the summer with alcohol establishments. Following the local board hearing, we received a request from an attorney. They retained an attorney and we received a request to be permitted to transfer the permit under Rule 36 and indicating that they closed operations as of Friday, February 13th. So I would move that we uphold the denial but allow transfer pursuant to Rule 36. And that we request an escrow request within the next 2 weeks and give 6 months for the owners to file transfer paperwork in an arm's length transaction to the commission.
Second.
Second. Third.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for discussion is gaming endorsement GR 8231247 Tiki on Main LLC. This is up for consideration of a possible denial due to owner disqualifications. Under the requirements to hold a gaming endorsement, any felony may be subject to denial. However, there is discretion with the commission, and there's a list of items for discretion, including review of documents submitted by the applicant. In this situation, the alcohol permit for Tiki on Main transferred in a disclosure of interested parties document. That disclosure document was created before we updated the form to include a request that individuals identify criminal convictions. So there was no falsification on the disclosure of interested parties. Additionally, the felony convictions were not such that it would automatically disqualify someone from holding an alcoholic beverage permit. Then on the renewal of the type 2 gaming endorsement, the question asked if any owners had a conviction since the last renewal. And there was a new owner who had never previously disclosed a conviction, but the conviction had not occurred since the last renewal. So technically that question was also answered correctly and false information was not given on the gaming endorsement. So now we have a situation where we do now know about the criminal convictions, and it is a felony, so it's before the commission to address whether to grant the renewal of the gaming endorsement. I will note that I don't think they've had any violations specific to their gaming endorsement. The criminal convictions related to habitual traffic violator following alcohol issues, but were not such that I would be concerned about the operations of the gaming endorsement. It's not a theft or something where I would worry about the ability to follow rules on the gaming endorsement. I think this is a situation with a lot of odd timing, but I can't say that anything was falsified through this process. Now, the way the forms are laid out, if somebody checked that they didn't have criminal convictions when they did, we'd be looking at falsification. And so my vote may be different in the future under similar circumstances. But on this one, I would move to grant the renewal of GR 8231247 Tiki on Main LLC and indicate that this is specific to these facts. I should also note that we received 5 letters of support from community members, including at least one member of a local police department, attesting to the good character of the applicant.
Second.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I would just add that in addition to those letters of support, which were very convincing for me as well, that those prior alcohol-related convictions by the one owner all occurred prior to his involvement with this permit. He's had no criminal convictions or any violations that I'm aware of since that time. So those all swayed me to support this motion as well.
Right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for discussion is RR 4942810 Restaurante Guatemalteco LLC. This is new with the local board voting 3-0 to deny. There was concern from the local board about ownership and false ownership. There are 2 individuals listed on the lease and 1 individual listed on the permit application. The individual listed on the permit application is not on the lease. One of the 2 individuals on the lease has disqualifying criminal convictions, which is what we typically see when someone's trying to hide ownership. But I think this is a pretty simple one, that if you don't hold a lease, you are not qualified to hold a permit. So I would move to uphold the denial of permit RR 4942810.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item is DL 6233717 Shri Umiya Nav Stiti LLC. This it came on at the last meeting for a motion to reconsider and reinstate, which we did. We gave 2 weeks for them to file 2 years of renewals. I will just note that they did file those 2 years of renewals and they are complete. And I don't believe we need to take any action on this permit today. Next item for discussion is RR 29300044 Pancake House Incorporated, renewal with local board voting 3-0 to deny. This was continued from the 1/21/26 meeting. The letter that went to Pancake House notified them this would be considered on the March 3rd meeting for consideration. So I would just ask, can we take it by consent to move that to the 3/3 meeting?
Consent.
Consent.
All right, we will show that move to the March 3rd meeting. Next item on the agenda is RR 4927664 El Chispas number 2 LLC. This was on for consideration of an application of an extension continued from the 1/21/26 meeting. However, the local board did approve the transfer, and that was in the 73 transfers that we reviewed today. So I believe the consideration of the extension is moot and will not need to be considered today. Next item on the agenda is RR 57011755 Malt Inc. This matter comes on for an extension request. This permit expired October 20th of 2025. This is consideration of a second extension. They're currently on an LOA that ends February 17th. They haven't had any violations since 2010. The permit application is now complete and local board is scheduled for March of 2026. So I would move that we grant a 90-day extension to permit number RR 57011755.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next items are WH 4930104 and WH 4930105 D&E Spirits LLC. These matters come on for an extension request. This matter is still pending with the commission, so I would move that we grant 90-day extension to both WH 4930104 and WH 4930105.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next permit for consideration is RR 1541595 Back Alley Mercantile LLC. This matter comes on for an extension request. This is their second extension request. The permit expired November 6th of 2025. Their extension expires February 19th of 2026. Their application is now complete and local board is scheduled today, February 17th of 2026. I would move that we grant 90-day extension.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for discussion is RR 4931163 Compass Group USA Incorporated. This matter comes on for an extension request. This permit expired November 2nd, 2025. This is a second extension request. We did receive, I think, some missing information, but we may still be waiting on sales figures. So I'd like to get that clarified for the applicant if we're still missing anything. Their current extension expired February 2nd and they're on a letter of authority. I would move that we grant 90-day extension to RR 4931163.
If I may, I would second that if we include the catering permit 4932454.
I will amend my motion to include the catering permit.
I second it then.
All right. Next item.
We still
I'm
need a
sorry.
vote, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. I was on a roll there.
I know.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is permit DL 5330718 BBQ Train Investments LLC. Similar to, this is a second extension request, similar to the prior. The application is now complete. And I would move that we grant a 90-day extension to DL 5330718.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for consideration is RR 2739454 Firewater Mill LLC. This matter comes on for an extension request. Again, the application is now complete. And local board has been scheduled. I would move that we grant 90-day extension to Firewater Mill LLC.
And CT 2732667.
I will amend my motion to include the catering permit.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We have one extension to add to consideration, and that is RC 6014333. VFW post 1405. Can we take it by consent to add that to the agenda?
Consent.
Consent.
All right, I will show that added to the agenda by consent. I will note that this permit expired November 16th, 2025. The extension expired February 14th, 2026. The application is now complete and set for April 13th of 2026. They've had no violations since 2014. So I would move that we grant 90-day extension to permit RC 6014333.
Consent.
Second.
Agree.
You're on a roll now,
Second.
too.
Yeah, I am too.
It's been moved and
Second.
seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have inactive files. We received renewal applications for RR 2942140 and RR 0639169. So can we take it by consent to remove those from the list to be made inactive today?
Consent.
Consent.
Right, I will show those removed, and then that takes it to 23 permits to be made inactive.
I incorporate by reference that list that is contained in the report that we received and move that they may be made a copy, a part of the minutes.
Second.
Are you moving to make them dead?
Yes, dead, and make them dead.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next, just an announcement of 15 permits to be made inactive on the March 3rd, 2026 meeting if they are not renewed. Announcement, just note the amended meeting dates. Not seeing any other items on the agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Good
Thank
to
you,
see
Mark.
you all. You're welcome. Good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Good job.